Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are talking about our Allpowers Monster X solar generator. If you watched our video, we have done the unpacking video on this machine, but we haven't had our solar batteries which have arrived. Always call them solar batteries. They're solar panels. They have arrived later. So in today's video, we're going to basically talk about can this solar generator save your bacon? Well, it can if it actually works. Nonetheless, we're all aware, guys, that obviously there are meant to be some power cuts coming in January and February. If you are like ourselves, if you're a prepper, then you're probably preparing for the worst case scenario, because we do live in a really rural area. We have power cuts all the time anyway, and it's not literally, we can survive a 4-hour power cut. Do you know what I mean? This is not the problem. This is not where this is not what this is for. This is for basically if you're trying to save money on the long run, or if you do a lot of camping trips, or you genuinely just want to be prepared like we are, then this is kind of the sort of the machine that you want to have in your household. First of all, I'm going to start with the solar panels. I'm not going to call them solar batteries again. They are solar panels, and this machine came with 2 of them. They're meant to be 200 watts panels, and just to remind you guys, those solar generators currently were on sale at Amazon at 2,100. We managed to pick them up on sale for about £1,800, and I appreciate this is a lot of money, and it's not something that we took lightly, and we have been saving up for this. So if it's something you're thinking of doing, obviously do your research and watch loads more videos about the different ones, and obviously do save up if you can afford to buy one upright. Anyway, we're talking about the panels, right? So this machine meant to be something you take with you camping, and it's advertised as being a waterproof machine, waterproof panels. If you can see, they are basically come in a what I call like a neoprene fabric, right? And you unravel the panel. I do apologize, I don't have enough room to do this, but it unravels into 4 pieces that are linked together. Hopefully you can see that a little bit like that. All right, so it's kind of great. Do you know what I mean? It's very thin, they're very light, so you can take them with you. That's the whole idea. And you're meant to plug them into your machine, and you're meant to stand them up. Well, each one of those panel things comes with 4 of those legs, and if you can see that, just that. They're not particularly the lightest. I know it's light enough to be able to carry this, but it's not particularly lightest when it stands up, because it basically unfolds to about 1.2 or 1.4 meters. So it's quite a lot of, or 2 meters, 1.2 I think. Anyway, regardless, it's quite a long space. And those kind of flimsy things there are really, really frustrating. If it's 2 of you trying to do this, one of you doing one side, the other one does the other side, and the middle bit collapses. Then one of you does the middle, and then the other one tries to do the other side, then the other end collapses. So technically, it's not very user-friendly in terms of putting this thing up. Secondly, because if you go camping, you normally camp like on the grass, you don't camp on your sort of patio, you know? So basically, why make those things so flimsy and not waterproof, right? Brings me to the second point. Waterproof, as advertised online. When you get them on the box, it said they're not waterproof, they're actually only splashproof. That means that suddenly if you're out camping or you're using them in a household on a patio, if it suddenly starts raining, you might give yourself grace of a couple of minutes, and then you have to bring the panels in. So to me, it's kind of misadvertising, because when you do go camping, if you sort of go for a walk in a forest and you left your panels to charge, then when you come back, potentially that could be all ruined because it started raining. I appreciate not everywhere rain like goes 5 minutes rain, 5 minutes sunshine, but where we live, it's exactly the case. So we cannot possibly trust to leave those panels outside. So 200 watts a panel, you have 2 panels, that's 400 watts. Sounds like a lot, and apparently they're meant to charge this machine in full sunshine in 3 hours. Well, that's rather questionable. We had a lot of decent sunshine, and we have the panels outside, and they do not pull anywhere near 200 watts. The maximum we managed to get is 120 out of each panel. Also, to point out the fact, guys, we have tested if putting this on the floor on the patio on those flimsy little legs, and we also positioned it on our roof, which is the correct angle for solar panels, and that made no difference whatsoever. The panel still could not pull at 200 watts. So basically, from some are saying advertising this is taking you 3 hours to fill the machine, to charge the machine, sorry, it's unfortunately not the case, and it's probably going to take you double this if you're lucky. If a little bit of cloud comes and covers the sunshine, it takes very little, because the panel's obviously not particularly the great of quality. So for all of you who think that on a really cloudy day you can still take power you're pretty much mistaken with those panels. You will take very little power that make no difference, maybe just enough difference to be able to charge your iPhone, or sorry, any phone for, you know, for half a day or whatever. So there we are. So as comes to the panels, we are not impressed and we are not happy. So that brings us, we have bought ourselves two proper solar panels. So you guys have to get a toddler for a dummy. So we were on the panel. So basically, yes, we were not happy with those things. And we have purchased two 300 watts proper panels. They're far bigger. They're the proper panels you guys put on the roof and we're connecting them to the machine. The reason also we really weren't happy with this is when we left those things, even on the sunniest day when it was dry overnight, we have left them outside, but what happens, the machine for some reason doesn't like it when they're plugged in and it's starting to go dark. You start to come up with loads of error codes and it's bleeping, and we had one of the days where we had the machine fully charged, but after it decided to bleep and the fan was coming on pretty much, I think, all night, it's actually depleted itself, which was not really good. So if you kind of rely on this sort of thing to like run your fridge or freezer and then you wake up the following morning and it's actually totally drained of power, it's not cool. So anyway, so that's why, guys, we have migrated to a 300 watts panel. We have currently been using one 300 watts panel, and what an improvement even up against two of those things. It's been connected, we had sunny days, and it's easily, considering we're now in the winter, it easily takes 230, 240 watts on 300 panel, which was absolutely brilliant, and it takes like a great speed to be able to charge your machine. So if I just gonna move this out of the way, we're moving on to machine itself. So if you've seen the previous video, guys, you have multiple the power outlets for your normal 3-pin plugs. You have a load of USB, and basically, what do we use it for, right? As I said, that we are one of these people that like to prep, and we prep for God knows what, and at the same time we would want to save a little bit of money. It's a little bit hypocritical to be able to sort of spend a couple of £1,000 and you think you save yourself money, because to be able to get that back in charging your little things, it's going to take you like a lifetime, and probably you wouldn't even pay this off, to be fair, after the whole lifespan of the machine. However, I'm a proper prepper, and I'm preparing for all sorts of scenarios, and like many people, I do have a freezer full of food, which is probably cost more than £2,000. So to be able to have and safeguard my frozen food, it's something I strongly suggest and I would like to have myself. So we're charging anything, guys, like power banks, right? It's really important to have power banks. As you know, they are far cheaper to charge, and they could run many things for many hours, and it takes literally probably like an hour or two with a decent with a decent speed cable to basically charge one of those. We charge little torches, we charge little fans, anything we can possibly charge that is small and portable, we charge through the machine. Running the appliances, right, we have done few things, and this is something that we're trying to do, especially now where the prices of electricity is going to be going up again in April. So we're trying to run as much as possible. So we've done a few little tests, and for example, excuse me, I just bring up, like, if you don't want to use your hob, which is, we've got an induction hob, and it's basically 1,000 watts to run for an hour per ring to run yourself one of those hobs, or probably the other hobs are similar. So anyway, 1,000 watts to boil yourself an egg. So we've invested, huge investment, guys. It's a whole tenner from Lidl. It's an egg boiler, right? It's mixed reviews on those, but there's like 400 watts, and like easily plug it in there, and within 6 minutes you got yourself eggs. Yes, there's a little knack to this, however, it's still better than running 1,000 watts per ring to boil yourself some eggs, if that's what you choose to do. Air fryers, I'm sure everybody's got one or intending to get one. I think it's people are going crazy for air fryers now, because they are so much cheaper than run like a normal oven. This one is a couple of years old. It's 1,300 watts for the air fryer, up against my normal oven, which is 3,500 watts. So if you imagine, if you're only doing a bit of the chicken or a bit of potato, this thing like saves you a huge amount of electricity. Plugging into the machine here, it takes, if the machine is not plugged into the panels, it takes about 30 minutes and it will drain 30% of a battery, which is pretty good considering if you literally haven't got any power, and if you feel like you could cook yourself a meal, you can. If you know, especially it's going to be sunny day the next day. The brilliant part about this machine as well is firstly you have an app, and secondly you have a display here. So when we have something plugged into the machine and it's charging, it tells you the percentage you have left and how long it takes to charge or run the specific appliance. So with that said, guys, when the display shows you what you have left of charging that or powering the appliance, for example, we have this little camping light stroke fan currently plugged in into the machine, and it currently tells me that we have 304 or 303 hours left to be able to keep this appliance plugged in. Don't forget that anytime you charge an appliance, I don't need to have this plugged in 303 hours. It's going to be charged in about probably an hour, maybe 2 hours, and that's it. We're ready to use this for probably about a week. So apart from small appliances, we'll also have tested this and actually plugged in some major appliances, and all of the results, I think, a little bit mixed. However, again, this is always based when the machine was not plugged in into the solar panels, because the machine is portable, and the idea is you can put it anywhere, you can take it to any room and plug in anything that you want. So we have tried and run a dishwasher. Our dishwasher is a standard sort of Bosch dishwasher. It runs a 45-minute wash and dry cycle. On the 100%, unfortunately, we were short of about 10 minutes to finish the cycle. For some reason, dishwashers seem to be a really power hungry appliance, and whether with many appliances, whether you know or don't, that the power changes. So basically when the appliance powers up, it takes more power. When it heats up, it takes more power, and then it takes less power, and it basically goes through the stages. With the dishwasher, it seemed to be constantly drawn, pushing 2000 watts for the whole 45 minutes. So basically we couldn't finish the dishwasher cycle, so unfortunately this is not good for that. We're coming back now to a washing machine, and there I'm pleased to say you can run your washing machine on the full charge of 100%. I could do three quick 30-degree washes at about 35 minutes each. If you have this machine plugged in and you have a decent sunshine, you can continuously do more than 3 washes. So if we come in to work out the prices, so our wash for our washing machine costs about 50p a wash. So you got to do hell of a lot of washes to make up and get your £2,000 worth of money. However, I'm pretty happy because the summertime, when we have had the week of sunshine, I was doing washing for free, and I was like, yeah, let's bring it on. And it's great. It's absolutely, for the washing machine, it worked absolutely fine. So next thing we've tried a coffee machine. Yes, I appreciate it is not something I would waste power on if there's no power. I would not waste my 30% of power to do us 2 cups of coffee. And this is how much it took. Our coffee machine, it powers up, it does a rinse cycle, and then it heats up, and it does your coffee, and it does a lot of these noises there, and then it finally pulls you 2 cups of coffee. It drained 30% of a charge out of that just to do 2 cups of coffee. So if it's literally the end of the world out there, I'm going to save my power, not for coffee. I'm going to do manual grind or drink a dissolvent normal coffee. I'm not wasting my 30% power on coffee machine that take 5 minutes to pour a cup of coffee, considering you can do a whole wash on that. So there we are. And of course, the main question probably, can it run your fridge freezers? And absolutely yes. It's actually very surprising. We've got 4. We've got fridge freezers, we've got in the garage, some of them are older, some of them are newer. And you'd be very surprised, and we were really surprised. There's something that we had, which was an old fridge freezer that we had for probably about 7-10 years that lives in the garage. It's actually far more power hungry than the current fridge freezers or freezers. So for the oldest machine that we had, when we plugged it in, I think the standard power thing that it was drawing, it was about 40 watts. It did go down to 1 at some point, but it seemed to linger around early 10s. However, when we plugged in the fairly recent freezer, it pretty much was drawing 1 watt. And we left it on there for a very long time, and it powered up. I think at some point one of them powered up to about 60, and then go down to 40, and then it was basically majority of the time it sits about 1 to 2 watts. As I said, it all depends on the brand of your appliance and depends how old it is. But basically, when you plug in something like fridge and freezers, especially freezers, they basically just sit there at the temperature, and they only draw power when the temperature drops behind certain temperature. So for example, if you suddenly open the door in your fridge freezer or your freezer, temperature will go up a little bit, so chances are you'll start drawing a little bit more power to keep itself alive. However, as an average, when you plug it in and you have your 1 or 2 watts, you can see why generally fridges cost about £100 a year to run. So that meaning that you can plug in your fridge freezer and you run it for well, for days really. So don't forget that we don't have to panic about fridge freezers for the common shortages when they say it's like a 4-hour outage thing. If your freezer is full, it'll easily do, well, fridge will easily do 4 hours. Freezers easily do 24 hours to 48 hours if they're fully full. So technically we don't have to worry about that on the short term. However, this is kind of thing that I'm more so inclined to say, if things that get worse, and I'm pretty sure things will get worse with electricity and the shortages and power cuts, and I think the control 4-hour power cuts are going to be drawn into potentially like constant power cuts for half a day or potentially longer. So it's basically something that I'm glad that we have. However, it does have some issues. Unfortunately, I think I'm looking, and I've seen many videos on the YouTube that in America they have such a vast option of these little generators, and they have a solar generators, they have petrol generators, something for like $700 or something, which is amazingly cheap. For us here, we seem to be very limited unless you want to spend like sorry, mouthful. Unless you want to spend a few thousand pounds, we're limited as a middle range thing to have for only sort of couple of things to what we're able to find out. So in all, guys, it's a thing that is good to have if it works, providing it doesn't come up with any other issues. And we have had occasional thing when I'm trying to plug the washing machine and I just didn't want to know right away. It just seemed to took that little bit of time, whether because it was just powering up and it was waiting for something, I don't know. Sometimes you put the USB in and it doesn't want to know. Again, strongly suggest using cables. If you are using Apple cables, lightning cables, use a decent branded cables, because the Chinese, the rubbishy cables you get, sometimes they don't even charge with like a normal plug. They're just rubbish. So generally use the best cables as best as you can, really. Just use original branded cables. So question is to you, or answer is to you, am I glad I have this? I am. Is it worth £2,000? It's not with the issue it has. Anything that's got intermittent issues to me obviously is a problem, and it should be worth probably quarter of the price. Like, not that I expect to pay less because I got issues, if that makes sense. To me, this machine should be worth about £500 and not have any issues. It's worth £2,000, but because currently is a new thing out there, it's still fresh to the market, and people who produce them clearly charge the premium. And considering we had to pay another like £500 on the solar batteries, not batteries, again, I keep saying that, solar panels, we are keeping the portable ones because if we do go somewhere that we can take them with us. Is it worth it? Sorry guys, it's not worth the money, but it's worth having, providing you don't have any issues. So there we are. I do hope you guys find this helpful. Please do, if you have any comments, any questions, I've tried to cover it a lot, but I appreciate you might have different questions. So please comment below. If you haven't subscribed to our prepping channel and cooking channel, then please do. And we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.